how long was it from deciding to do a box set to actually having it done?
You know, I have some very, very good friends who suggested to me to begin this box set. And I was in a very bad way at the time. COVID had just started. The riots had just started. I had watched them, both events taking place from a hospital bed. I was in very sad shape and watching the world burning.
Mm-hmm.
Black oil, smoke rising up into the air, people marching down their main streets, tear gas, pepper gas, people yelling and screaming in each other's face, shooting at each other, rubber bullets. Watched it all go down from a hospital bed. Days from death.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick as a dog. But in a way, it kept me from going out into the street because I felt so guilty that I wasn't participating this time. The 92 riots, I was there and I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I played out the 92 riots all the way through until, you know, people stopped stealing and setting things on fire and the city kind of got a grip. This time, I think this was worse, way worse.
Mm-hmm.
This time period is the most amazing time period I've ever lived through. Last 4 years has been the most trying 4 years of my life. And it goes from what a most amazing place that we have here, this earth. I look at it like this, it's a vehicle that travels through the universe. And it's like the vehicle is called Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's floating through the universe, but it's got these amazing things called rivers and streams and oceans, and then plenty of land, and on the land is animals, wild animals, and amazing people and inventions. And today I look out at the world, and the world to me is wondrous.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other word short of wonder and wondrous. I see how wonderful the world is, really see it. And it makes me want to keep the world going in the direction of, hold on one second. We're on a roll here, Darren.
We're on a roll here, and of course, you're making the world a better place through music. So, if we say box set, as somebody who's been listening to your music for decades, somebody who played some of your music at his wedding, that was my wife suggesting it and us doing it.
What song?
Well, we had a great dance party. You know that like Soul Train thing where you split the crowd into two and then the people go in that. We did that to Been Caught Stealing. I tried to get Pets played during the cocktail hour. I'm not sure if we did get that to happen.
I love doing that Soul Train line. I have a trampoline that I have. It's a ground level trampoline. I got it from the boys when they were little. One day, I hope to turn it into a swimming pool. But in the meantime, it's level. And I do, when I have parties, we split up and we start a Soul Train line, and we do the Soul Train line on a trampoline.
Wow. Well, well, if I can steer towards a compliment right here. Growing up on Long Island, living on Long Island, we're trained to think of Billy Joel and Eddie Money as our Long Island musical heroes, but you spent a considerable amount of your childhood here, and people don't usually associate you with Long Island. Do you have memories of growing up here?
Sure. I grew, from birth to age 13. So let me tell you my favorite memories. I lived and grew up as a young man during the time when Joe Namath was the quarterback for the New York Jets. I was around when the New York Knicks and Walt Frazier were the world's champions, and then Earl Monroe joined up, and Willis Reed was on the team too, along with Phil Jackson. And then the Miracle Mets happened, and Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
And so I was really good luck. Wherever I would go, there'd be championships. The year that I had finally left New York, I moved down to Florida, and we lived in Miami Beach. And that year, Bob Greasy and the Miami Dolphins had that famous year where the team never lost. They were 36 and I don't know what they were. They didn't lose a playoff game. They didn't lose a seasonal game, and they won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, the Don Shula Miami Dolphins. Yeah.
Yep. And then when I finally moved out to California, I came out here by myself on a Greyhound bus, and it wasn't but a year or two when they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar change his name from Lou Alcindor, and he hooked up with Magic Johnson, and I was going downtown and watching the parade for the world's champion Los Angeles Lakers. So sports have always brought good luck to the city teams, the local teams, you know. But back to New York and my memories of New York, my happy memories of it. I just remember, my dad worked on 47th Street, the Diamond District.
Mm-hmm.
So as a young man, he taught me the trade of jewelry. I learned the art, the craftsmanship of being a jeweler. My dad was a true craftsman. So he taught me lost wax casting. I can make you, a ring or a necklace. And I wasn't very good with a blowtorch. I left the tough stuff to him. Occasionally he'd let me try to fix something, and I would fuck it up. And I would over melt the gold and mess up a prong, and I ended up to get pretty afraid. My dad say, "Hey, here's something." And I'd look at it. My dad worked with, precious stones and sometimes semi-precious stones, but a semi-precious stone was something like an opal. Mm-hmm. And if you heated up an opal too hot, it would just crack.
Yeah.
So one day my dad gave me an opal ring to work on. I heated up that ring, and I didn't know what I was doing yet. And I fucked up this person's opal. And I remember feeling so bad because it could have been a family heirloom.
Right.
But anyway, reason I remember that today of all days is my son. I have a 16-year-old son and an 18-year-old son, and they're following in my footsteps, just like I did when I was a young boy. I wanted to work with my dad. Mm-hmm. And so I would go on weekends, I would go to the Diamond District, and I'd walk all over New York City with diamonds and jewels in my pocket. People never would have expected I was a kid that had all these jewels and gems in my pocket. But my dad would say, "Hey, Pat," he'd give me an address, and he'd say, go down here and give this guy this stone and this ring, and I need you to wait around for him to set it. And then this other guy's going to polish it up for us and bring it back. So I spent many hours just walking around New York City. My dad didn't know it. I would look at, remember FAO Schwartz, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a toy store. Sometimes I would kind of ditch work, and I'd go and I'd look in the windows of that toy store, and I'd just think, Man, I'd just like to spend the whole day walking around in that toy store. It was floors and floors of toys. New York in those days, most of the guys, they would wear trench coats and smoke cigars, and they had greasy hair, you know, and the whole city kind of smelled like a stale cigar, you know, especially in the winter time. You had this smell, a certain smell, and you get on the train, because people in those days, you know, you can smoke a cigar, smoke a cigarette on the train, and there'd be hustlers, there'd be pimps, and their prostitutes, and we would walk by them real quick. I remember holding on to my dad's hand. He'd be going, come on, Pat, we got to catch the next train. And it was all like a fast pace. You'd meet up, you wait for, you know, the light to change, and it would just be filled with people. It would be unlike any other place in the world. Maybe Japan was close to how New York used to be, but it would just be filled with people walking for blocks and blocks and blocks to getting to their destination. All different types of people, Black people and old people and young people and white people and Irish people and Italians and Jews. And we all kind of accepted each other, you know? We went about our business, and it was exciting. And I really, I didn't know that people could have such hate for each other. Growing up as I did in New York, I just thought everybody just accepted each other. You know, we can go into a Chinese restaurant and get a great Chinese meal, you know, egg drop soup, and you know, and people will go to delicatessens that weren't Jewish, and they would love sitting there and talking after they would go to the theater. It was such an interesting, great place. Then the New York Knicks started to suck. It hasn't been the same since.
Yes, that's the highs and lows of the Knicks. You can definitely measure along with New York sports. But you mentioned that your sons are cool with it, what you do for a living, which is fantastic. And your wife has regularly collaborated with you on stage for probably close to 20 years now. Do we hear your wife or your sons on the new box set at all?
You hear my wife singing all the time. So I'm very big fan of Johnny Cash and June Carter. Believe it or not, I'm very inspired by their love and how they. We were talking about this morning, Etty and I. We don't, you know that I was a drug addict for about 40 years, solid, and we were talking about, could any other woman have put up with me, lasted this long with me, had success, the success that I've had in my lifetime? No other woman could have put up with me. No other woman could have put up with the lifestyle. It's a strange thing because, you know, she said to me, like, why didn't you end up with, we were laughing because we have friends in the group Incubus.
Oh, yeah.
And he had Carolyn, his girlfriend, you know, she was a supermodel.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of laughing at all the friends that we had that had supermodel girlfriends. And Etty said, you know, you couldn't have had a supermodel girlfriend. It wouldn't have worked out. And you know, and she was right. And the reason was, I told her, because, you know, it would have been too hard to be my girlfriend and still have a career as a supermodel. The kind of lifestyle that I live, man, hey, it took a real strong woman. I mean, Etty put up with a lot of crap from me and got me through a lot of times, brought me back to life, remained beautiful and loyal and faithful. and still, she is such a great mother. As I told you, well, I don't know if I told you this, but my son, in the last week, almost lost his hand.
Oof.
He was skateboarding, and he was holding a bottle, and he fell off his skateboard and smashed the bottle. The bottle smashed and severed three nerves going to out of his 5 fingers. 3 of the fingers had severed nerves. And you know what? He went, originally, his big brother just took him to UCLA Medical. The doctor was like a new doctor and didn't know anything, and just sewed him up and sent him on his way. And my son, if it wasn't for my wife and her diligence, it was the fact that he was taken in by his big brother, and they thought that he was just a poor kid who had no money, and they just sewed him up. I've had it happen too.
Mm-hmm.
Darren, when I was a young man, I had no money, and I went to UCLA Medical. Same thing. I had this terrible toothache, and this guy, he drilled into my tooth, and for a good 20 years, I had this terrible tooth because this new first-time dentist worked on my teeth because I had no money. And basically what it taught me is that the poor, they get shit on. They get when it comes to the medical, you're on your own, pal. My young son, he would have had use of only 2 of his fingers if it hadn't been for the diligence of my wife, who just kept on. She would say to Isidore, our son, "How are you feeling?" He would go, "Oh, it hurts so bad, Mom. It hurts so bad." She took him again to another doctor. God, I've got video footage of I took him to six separate doctors to get his hand. Finally, they had to have cadaver on 3 of his fingers, nerves, cadavers to connect the nerves on his hand in 6 different spots. He's finally okay. Finally okay. This all just happened yesterday, Darren.
Wow.
And it made me aware that the poor, they get no service. The poor, they're on their own. The poor, we talk about the stimulus package. 1.9 trillion it is. And these Republicans, they don't want to help the poor. They don't want to help these poor people. They need help. We've got to help them. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We have the money.
Right.
And we should be helping them.
Well, do you have time for another compliment kind of question?
No, I got to say one thing I want to ask from you, for
Sure.
you. All the people that say no to this stimulus, because you're a writer, I want you to write their names in like the largest font. All the people that say no to this stimulus package, because I want their names throughout history. I want them to be known as the people that said no, that wouldn't help the poor.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Now I'm ready for your question.
Well, I really admire how you were ahead of the curve with branding in general. And it wasn't just Lollapalooza. It wasn't just Enid, what you accomplished with that. It wasn't just with Kind Heaven. You've always been ahead of the curve with realizing the importance of branding. And how much of that was learning or taking an MBA kind of course, or just dumb luck and following a dream?
Yeah, definitely had more to do with dumb luck than taking a course. My course was definitely life. In fact, when it comes to branding, Lollapalooza, I was the last festival to work with any kind of sponsorship. I refused to. I wanted the music to stand on its own, and I wanted people to know that they came just to listen to the music. And it wasn't about buying a car or anything else. But what happened was every other festival in the world went and got themselves sponsorship, and they were outbidding me. Every year I would start to lose the bids from the acts. The acts would go to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And so I had to make a move. So what I decided was I will only work with people that are reputable, that can help the world. And those people should be commended, and they should be, we should. I have a new project I'm working on now, on yet another project.
You need another project, yes.
We do need another one, because now we've got Lollapalooza, and that's a big, beautiful project. But we need something else. We need something that's a half the size of Lollapalooza, a quarter the size of Lollapalooza. But we need to have discussions. We need to change the world. Right now we have, I keep saying we have a good 2 years where we can implement changes.
Mm-hmm.
My hero right now, the man who I think is got the biggest balls, is Joe Biden. This man is in his 80s, and he's saying, I'll take on this mess that the country is in. I need some money to help people, to get them out of this. And he's taking on these Republicans, these cowards, these people that they could right now be heroes. We could all be heroes right now. The world is ready for the mitzvah. The world is ready for it. What we've been taught is that we're to go and we'll be blessed, and we turn around and then we bless. And that's what a mitzvah is. Mitzvah is a blessing. And,
yeah.
And in my estimation, that's what the Torah teaches. The Torah teaches us that we learn what we can about the universe. We become wiser as we get older. We make our mistakes, but if we can live long enough, we get in the position to help people. Mm-hmm. And here we are. I mean, God has also put, he put some knuckleheads out in the world and made things very difficult. But he also put some tough motherfuckers out there, and some guys with big balls and courage. And I kind of feel like I'm one of those guys.
Sure.
I want to take this world, and I want to leave this world a better place for my children. I want to write music that the world can rock to, and cry to, and get married to, and fall in love to, and wanna heal. I want this world to mend. I wanna have that feeling of love, and I think we can do it if we cooperate. We have now in place the internet. The internet is giving us the ability to communicate. Mm-hmm. So we can now share information like we never could before. And we can share information on how something like my son's hand could be healed. Get an opinion, get a second opinion, get a third opinion. I had 6 opinions, but my son's hand is healing. Mm-hmm. And this world is fucked up. but this world can be healed. We have to stay in touch with each other and speak to the great healers. It's not going to be a politician. It's going to be people like you and me, people who can spread a positive message, a good message. How do we clean up the air? How do we clean up the water? How do we have good, clean energy? It's all waiting for us. It's all waiting for us to do mitzvahs. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to help the world.
Oh.
Give me a chance. Give us the chance to get out.
Yeah. And my last question for you is a much easier one, and that one comes from my wife. And that's, will the movie The Gift ever come out on DVD or Blu-ray or any kind of a special collector's edition?
Yeah, I've been working on getting that. You know, Warner Brothers is always looking to make some money, right?
Yeah.
And every year they say, let's do a special box set. I've done special box sets for them. What I want to do with them is I want to put out the movie Gift with a special director's cut. In other words, I will watch the movie and make comments, so you'll know all the things that really were going on behind the scenes, because even though it's a movie and it looks like it's some kind of a funny Spinal Tap type of a setup, that was really my life. Sad to say, but true. Everything that was going on, it was really going on. When I went out there and scored in a dress, and all those people that I was talking to, those guys, they were my dealers, and they were my friends. And that wasn't my quack doctor that gave me all those pills that I would take. And those ants that were crawling around in my room, yeah, man, that was my stale pizza box those ants were eating out of in Venice Beach. That was my life. I liked it, but I like my life now. I like my life now more than ever. I like it because I honestly feel like now I can do mitzvahs. And really, and honestly, Darren, doing a mitzvah, it's better than getting getting a mitzvah is doing a mitzvah for somebody else. It's the best feeling. When I went to Sudan and I helped free people from a life of bondage, that was the best. Those are the best moments of my life.
I can imagine. Well, thank you for the many years of great music. Looking forward to everything that's coming next from you, whatever the label, whatever the media, and just thank you, Perry.
It's my pleasure, Darren.
Have a great rest of the day, man. Take care.
You too.
Paltrocast.